Hi, it's Dia. Today I'm going to be reviewing 4 of my favorite art books of all times. Book 1 is called The Artist's Way. Book 2 is called The War of Art. Book 3 is called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. And book 4 is called Art Before Breakfast. The Artist's Way is a philosophical and spiritual look at the way or the path of an artist. It's written very differently than any other art book that I've seen. This is a 6-week course with actual homework that you have to do. Everything from morning pages to giving yourself an art date every week. That's all geared to finding out what's making you tick. What's the thing that you should be doing? And how to get all that creativity that's inside of you out. She's a believer, like Picasso was, that we're all born artists. And this book is a course on how to allow you to be an artist once again, to rediscover the artist in you. It is written geared to visual artists, but I don't see a reason that you can't apply it to the written word, to dance, to sculpture, to anything, because the process pulls out the creativity, and the creativity can be any type of blossom. It's been around over 25 years and it's very popular. Pete Townsend from The Who talked about the artist's way in his autobiography, and everybody knows that movie and that book, Eat, Pray, Love. And that's by Elizabeth Gilbert. Oh, and I should write that The Artist's Way was written by Julia Cameron. Anyway, back to Gilbert. She said, and I quote, "Without the artist's way, there would be no Eat, Pray, Love." So it's obviously working for a lot of people. And I think it'll work for you too. It definitely worked me. It definitely sent a spark out there into the universe and really got me going and interested in art again. And it made me wonder what I had been doing all those years that I let art go by. So I would highly recommend this book, and I give it a thumbs up for sure. All the information will be down below. The 25th anniversary version, the regular version, the journal that goes along with it, and her subsequent books will all be underneath in the info box. Another art book that I love is called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. You're probably familiar with The Art of War, which was, I think, written in the 5th century, and it's ancient military strategies. And Steven Pressfield got the great idea to put some art strategies together, and I think he did it in a really great way. He talks about the things that keep us from doing what we're supposed to be doing. And the primary thing that he talks about is a force that he defines as resistance. And I've talked about this before, but he puts it so eloquently, and he says, it's that feeling that you get when you go to start something and you always seem to have something else to do, or the phone rings, or some kind of emergency turns up, and you almost feels like you want to do anything else except to start either writing on that blank page or drawing on that blank canvas or starting a new endeavor that is possibly going to improve you in some way. He views resistance as something that you truly have to fight every single time that you want to create something. And he says it only occurs when you're ramping up to something, not ramping down to something. So if you're already doing something and then something else comes along, but it's not as important. He uses the example, if you're working with Mother Teresa, but then you're offered a job to go work in a phone center for a little bit more more money. That would be too easy. That's not resistance. Resistance would come in the other direction. If you're working at the phone center and suddenly you think that you should go work for Mother Teresa, that's when you would have the resistance. Or even when you wake up in the morning, or just do the thing that you know that you're supposed to do. It's a really interesting book. It's written in a very sort of kick butt kind of way. So it's motivational, where The Artist's Way is more spiritual and it's almost nurturing, and it's written in a very subtle and soft way. This is more, you know, this is the war of art, and it sounds like it's intense, and it can be sometimes, but he mixes it with wonderful stories and gives you a really entertaining read, along with all this help that you can use to really get your creativity going. So once again, highly recommended. Well, I'm not going to say that anymore because obviously I'm reviewing these books because I love them. The next book that I love is Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. And when I was a kid, well, when I was younger, my father gave me this book, and I didn't like the original cover. It kind of gave me the creeps. Here it is. And I say that not to be funny or smart, but truly, don't judge a book by its cover. There is so much interesting information inside this book. Now, this book by Betty Edwards was written in 1979 and is based on the right brain, left brain mindset. You've probably heard the left brain is logical and strategic and sort of business-oriented and mathematic. The right side is poetic and artistic and passionate and creative and peace-loving. And a lot of times when we sit down to work based on the premise of this book, we're trying to work from the strategic and business side of the brain, and it's not working for us. So she introduces all these exercises. So it's a little bit different from the other two books, that it's actually a book of art lessons, but in ways that you've never done them before. We usually think too much. We get the information from the left side of our brain, which is the business side, the strategic side, and try to translate it into the art side. So here's one of the exercises. If we're thinking about drawing an eye and we're using the ideas of what we have in our head and what we think it should look like, here's an example of how one of them came out. And here's a picture using the right side of the brain, same person, same artist, but they looked at a person's eye and just tried to draw pieces of it at a time, not trying to draw the whole thing, but maybe just covering a piece of the other reference picture. Comes out so much more accurate. Here's a few more examples. And here's another method. You look at a picture upside down and draw it upside down. Now, this is the picture that I drew upside down, but turned it right side up so you can see. And this is a picture that I drew with my left hand. I was shocked. So once again, quite an amazing book. Like I said, a little bit different than the others. I think you'll love this one. It's just fun to do the experiments. And then our last book is called Art Before Breakfast. And it's by Danny Gregory. It's a little bit of a different format. This one at the beginning has a mini art lesson. I think it's a week's worth of art instruction, and then it gets basically. Oh, you know what? I think I have the book. Let's just buzz through it. Here it is. I would say it's a little bit bigger than a regular paperback. Soft cover. It's written in a very sort of comfortable and casual way. Here's the beginning where the art lessons start. Here he is. He actually looks just like that. The entire book is illustrated and written by him. And then a couple pages in, well, this is Tuesday's lesson. Let me get done with the lessons. You can see it's really pretty, beautiful to look at. And then as soon as you're done with your lessons, he says, ignore all rules, which I really love, because if you've seen my videos before, I'm a full believer of knowing the rules and then breaking them like there's no tomorrow. So this is a book that says it has a zillion ways to be more creative. I don't know if there's a zillion ways in there, but he talks about drawing all the time. In the morning, at night, here's a jar of peanut butter, here's food. The only thing I don't like about this is he says, draw before breakfast and plan on eating your breakfast cold. I vote no for that, but everything else in this book gets a thumbs up. So what it's basically doing is giving you all these ideas of how to fit art in your day and how to not only improve your art, but expand and figure out more ways to do it. And actually it gives us really cool advice of almost how to see different things in a different way. So once again, great book. Well, that's about it for now. I hope you consider giving one or maybe even all of these books a try. If you do decide that you're going to get them, I would recommend getting them in the order that I presented them. I would start with The Artist's Way, then I would go to The War of Art if you're actually, really into moving your career forward or your love of art forward. And then if you want to actually practice art itself and learn how to see things differently, drawing on the side of the brain, and then end up with Art Before Breakfast because it's really fun, lighthearted, and a really good, beautiful read. So I hope you like this video, and I hope you give me a thumbs up, maybe even a like, and maybe share it with somebody who is a fellow artist. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you all watching these videos, and a big hug to everybody out there. Don't forget, all the information about all the books I talked about is in the information box below. And once again, thank you all for being here, and I will see you soon. More videos coming out this week. Bye-bye.